Institute of Disney Photography, and I'm back with a photo that I posted yesterday. Um, it was actually this one was the before, and you can see how the rope runs across the front, and Tinkerbell's wire is in the sky. And I did a quick clone out, which got us to here, and yeah, I bumped up the skies a little bit in the contrast to the castle. But some people were very observant and noticed that I missed this little section of rope right here, and uh, I'll show you why in a second. So we're going to get rid of that today, and I'll show you how it's done. So basically, you would jump into Photoshop. In here, I'm going to say Edit in Photoshop, but since I already have it open in Photoshop, I'm just going to jump over here. And this is the little section. So when I originally imported this image, I zoomed in, I got down what I was doing, and I think what happened, oops, excuse me. I think what happened was I zoomed in a little close and just missed that section over there. I started working on this side. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to select that. And people were asking about selection tools and that kind of stuff, so I'm going to show you. And another thing, if you're just getting into this, this is an older shot from, let me find out. Hold on. This is 2013. Older camera. This was my 5D Mark II. And you'll notice, if you ever heard the term, I'm trying to remember, chromatic, the heck is it? Chromatic aberration here. If I would have clicked this, it may have fixed that, but I missed it, and this is the TIFF. And what that is this, you can start seeing how the white starts to separate into almost a rainbow of colors. There's some purple at the bottom and some greenish at the top. That's an effect of the lens. The lens basically works like a prism, and sometimes if it's not perfectly aligned, it'll start to separate into color frequencies, and that's that chromatic aberration, or whatever you think it might be called. But since we're zoomed in real tight and close, you can see a couple things. Notice it didn't do a great job on the sidewalk, so we can fix that right now. A couple of the tools that we're going to use is the different selection tools, and I'll show you like the lasso tool and the polygonal or lasso, and the clone stamp, and the healing, where is it? The healing brush. The healing brush is great with things like this. I'll show you why. So if I use the cloning stamp, I'm going to take a selection, and on a Mac, it's Option key, and you pick where you want to make your selection. On the PC, I think it's the Control key. I'm not sure, or Command, or I'm on Option. So I'm going to click a section here, and everything exactly here is going to be copied here. Now, the only fault to that is you'll start seeing lines, and it's doing an exact copy. A better way to do that is with the healing brush, and the same, I'm kind of wide, but who cares? The same way, I'm going to use Option and click to give me a sample, and then as you'll notice, as I drag it over, it kind of blends automatically with its surroundings. So I'm just going to brush across, and it does a really good job of blending and you can kind of keep it random to make sure that it doesn't look too fake. So that's that. As far as this line, we'll do a real quick and dirty. This is just a rectangular tool. I'm just going to make a rectangle, and everybody can do that. There's a bunch of different ways to make selections. This is just one of them. But I'll show you real fast. What we were talking about yesterday was the content aware fill. I'm going to go to fill, and it's already chosen content aware. and let the computer try to figure it out. That's automatic. I'm going to deselect that. And you can see it's pretty darn close in one shot. So that's probably good enough for government work. This was the before, and this is after. And basically, the computer looks at the scene and says, okay, I think these lines should continue. Now, they're a little wavy. You could probably do a better job with the clone stamp and just take a selection, let's say here, and then follow that selection down. And this is a repeating pattern, so I can pretty much paint it in. But you'll notice how the colors are changing, and it's copying that green above me, what I'm doing. That's the problem with the clone stamp. The healing brush does a better job of it. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to select here and kind of line it up where I want. And let's try it a little bit up here and copy that down here. I'm just lining it up with the mouse. Ooh, you see it gets really funky down there. But you get the idea. Same thing with this corner. I always like to look for contrasty corners or stuff to follow. So like I held Option, clicked on this corner, and that's what it's giving me. So I can take that corner and line it up down here and use that to paint. Okay. Similar here. You know, if I wanted to copy that over, I could make that line go completely over it. But we don't. We don't want to. I'm just painting in. Oops. It's kind of trial and error. You know, to get what you want. I'm going to go with a smaller brush. And like I said, I look for contrasting lines to follow. You know. And if I want a harder line, I'm going to use the clone. And oh, oops, that's ugly. Sorry. Like I said, this is kind of hit or miss. So that's a quick way to do it. Other ways, let me jump back to it. Open, oops. Let's go back to here. Let's see if Photoshop's new selection tool, which is here, it is called Object Selection Tool. And let's see if it figures it out. I'm going to go just make a box around it. And it knows, well, it sort of selected it. It does a better job if things are out in the open. I'll show you an example if I can, if this video is not getting super long. I'm going to deselect. The other one is the lasso tool. This one you click where you want it to start. And I'm just kind of clicking along and giving it points to follow. And that's a little bit better selection than the big wide rectangular selection that it was. And from there, now we did fill this way, the content aware fill. The other one is actually the content aware fill. Let me get this Nick thing out of the way. This is, what do you call it? Like the actual tab. It gives you more options. What you don't want it to select, what you do want it to select. You know, you can say, hey, I don't want any of this. You know, I don't want the possibility of red being in there. You know, just kind of stick to where you think it might go. And let's apply that. That's pretty darn close too. I'm gonna hit OK and deselect. And like I said, to the naked eye, I'm at 200%, especially on a Facebook page. When that's zoomed out, nobody's gonna even know that rope was there. So I would hit save, bump, it's TIFF options. Oh, hold on, cancel. That's because I created a second layer. Sorry about that. We're gonna merge layers and then close it. And that is going to save that file back in Lightroom as that one. Ta-da. And then I use export, Facebook 2048 wide with a light logo on it.